Okay, good evening everyone. Bienvenue tout le monde aux séances ordinaires du conseil municipal de la ville de Westmount pour lundi le 7 novembre 2022. Welcome everybody to the regular municipal council meeting for the city of Westmount for Monday, November 7th, 2022. I think we will start with some updates from council, but I just want to thank everybody who came to our Remembrance Day ceremony yesterday. I know there had been some questions as to why we get these same questions every year as to why the Remembrance Day ceremony is on the Sunday prior to Remembrance Day in the city of Westmount, and that's because the RMR is a significant, the Royal Montreal Regiment is a significant part of the ceremony. And if we hosted it on the 11th, they are at Place du Canada. So I just want to thank everyone who participated in it. I think we had record numbers yesterday from what Public Security had counted, and to thank all those who participated, in particular, Cantor Gideon Zellemeyer, who treated us to his rendition of O Canada. And I had the privilege of being at Cantor Zellemeyer's when he took his citizenship oath not that long ago in Canada. So it was, it's wonderful when we see him participate. And I would just like to, one of our residents today had some big news, Madame Anglade, who is a Westmount resident, who is retiring from life in politics. And I just want to salute the efforts that she made and the impact that she did. And she did something which was very brave, and that was to stand up and try and lead the party. So however she did in the polls or whatever it may be, I would just like to say on behalf of the city of, certainly on behalf of City Council, I think she was always very open to our suggestions and our input. So I wish her all the very best in the next chapter that she has, which I'm sure will be continue her very successful career. So on that note, I will go down this way. Do we have any updates from Madame Kez, from Councillor Kez?
I have a few just minor little ones. The Artisans Westmount Fair will be this weekend, November 12th and 13th. So an officer will be at the door collecting non-perishable food, donations, or $2 admission fee. Please be generous, as this fee has not gone up over the years, and we all know that the price of food has gone up. These donations are what kicks off our holiday food drive, which helps support families in need. Giving Tuesday is on November 29th, and this year we expect to be outside Metro and Victoria from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. And another note, please make sure your contractors are respecting our bylaws and picking up leaves removed from your property. This ultimately costs residents, as they often block our sewers as a result. And that's it.
Thank you, Councillor Kez. And for those baskets, for anyone watching online, and for, I think we probably have some public security here in the building with us, we prepare baskets for families in need within our community. And I think sometimes some people think that that may not be as prevalent as it is, but our public security team leads that effort. So if you can't be there this weekend at Victoria Hall, and I know that Councillor Roux will talk more about that event, but please try and stop by to the Metro on the 29th, because it really is, they put together very thought out baskets. Our public security team talks to the families, sees what they need, and really designs them for them. If they have kids, if they need diapers in the basket and things like that. So we
have families in need.
Yeah, we really do. So we really encourage anyone watching online to certainly make sure that they participate in that. Merci, Madame Kez. Monsieur Aronson, Councillor Aronson.
A very brief announcement, Madam Mayor. As we are now past Halloween, as much as it pains me to say, people will begin turning their minds to the holiday season and possibly buying gifts for their loved ones. And so I'd like to urge Westmount residents to please think first of our local merchants and shop locally as you begin to make those holiday plans. You're going to hear the same thing from me at every meeting until the holiday season, because it's really important that we spend in Westmount first, and then, if we can't find something locally, then think about elsewhere. If we don't support our merchants will not remain in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think the Christmas tree lighting for the merchants is the 28th of November, perhaps, that Thursday of that week. Okay. Merci, Madame Gallery.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Bienvenue. Welcome everyone who's made the effort to come out tonight. I have a few announcements. As fall programming is well underway at the Westmount Rec Center and Victoria Hall, we are planning our winter programming. Online registration will take place November 22nd. So families and adults, there's something for everybody. We have one new workshop that's happening we have 3 self-defense courses. That's new to the schedule this year. And that's 2 for women and teens and 1 for seniors. So the workshop will be taught by a retired police officer who specializes in self-defense training. So we're very happy to have that added to our already very varied list of activities. And with all this great weather, we all know winter will be coming soon. So I just want to thank the public works team for putting to bed our planters and beautiful flowers that we've had, take care of the parks and our fields, and for putting everything to bed for the winter. And in the meantime, they're getting the new, or the refrigerated ice rink will be put up again in Westmount Park. So that's underway. I don't have an opening date yet, but please check our website and in the Westmount Independent. It'll all be out when we know for sure, but soon. Devon Park reconstruction is underway. There is a pause at the moment due to the fact that while digging, they found some hydro lines. So they will be doing some temporary redesigning of the park structures, but it will take a week or so to just make sure the engineering is intact. And lastly, the Westmount Rec Center will be the Westmount Minor Hockey League will be hosting Cape Ann from Massachusetts this coming weekend. So the hockey families, the young players and the parents are delighted to have this tournament back in place, back in action, certainly after the couple of years of pandemic that it didn't happen. So that's what will be going on in Westmount Rec Center this weekend. If you're around in the neighborhood, go check it out. There's lots of fun happening there. Thanks.
Great, thank you. And the other thing that some people have been asking about is the toboggan run at Murray Hill is coming back. And that blowing is happening in December. Some people had thought that it was happening in November. It is not. It'll happen in December. And then the other point, just to reiterate on your point about the self-defense classes, that is something that residents have asked for as well. And public security has worked with Dave Lapointe, the director of Sports and Rec, to bring that in. And I encourage you, especially your teenagers, to come out to that for some street safety and just it's a really good course, and it's a retired officer that they've worked with.
Life skills.
Thank you. Monsieur Pert.
Thank you, Madam Lameres. I won't take up too much time. We are approaching the end of our construction season, so I just want to give you a quick update on a couple of our larger projects. The biggest one underway right now is up in Lexington, where we are reconstructing the street, and that project is due to come to a close during the week of the 14th of November, so next week. If you haven't been up there, I do actually encourage you to go up and have a look. We're trying something new up there that we haven't been doing around the city, but we've installed actually. We've installed some rain gardens, and what that is, instead of letting all the water percolate down the street, going down the hill and into the sewer system, we give a chance for the water to flow off the sidewalk and into these percolating beds. That means less water goes into our system, less water needs to be treated. Once the water gets down the hill, that means we have less of a chance of overflow events that have happened historically over the years in the city. So every time now we're starting to redo our streets, we're looking at opportunities where we can really reduce the surface water that's coming off the street, especially now with climate change. The rain events are becoming more intense. A lot more water is coming down, and so we're looking at all of these steps where we can improve our resilience. So I encourage, it's going to be a very well performing street, and it's going to be a narrower street, which makes it a slower street. Our sidewalks are going to be wider. It's just going to be much better all around. So I hopefully you'll take the next, when you're next in the area, or if you live in the area, walk about and take in this new experience. That's Lexington and Devon. The other project, which is coming to a close next week as well, is the some resurfacing on Sydenham, and that just kind of summarizes my update for this week.
Yeah, and I think many of you here tonight are from Mount Pleasant, that area, which is also, I know, been a big topic of discussion in terms of redoing of the street. And many of you had that input. But I think when you look at a street like Lexington with wider sidewalks, better design, safer intersections, I know that that's what a lot of you had asked for as well on Mount Pleasant. So I thank you for the update. And Mr. Chamy?
Merci, Madame la Mairesse. Ladies and gentlemen, you all see tonight item 15 on the agenda. Councillor Peart will be moving a motion for the withdrawal of the draft bylaw 1588, to further amend the zoning bylaw 1303, office use in zone R9 0903. And I just want to state I'd like to speak to this after the vote, Madame Mayor.
Thank you very much. So item 15 is noted. Councillor Roux.
Yes,
All the fun stuff.
Yeah, all the fun stuff. So for those of you who haven't had the chance to go yet, the lovely exhibit by Nina Cherney and Alexander McDougall at the Gallery at Victoria Hall goes on until November 16th. Councillor Kez mentioned it. So you can do good for others and you could do good for your family by going to Artisan Westmount, which will be taking place Saturday and Sunday this weekend from 10:30 to 5 on both days. So it's a great place to find the perfect gift for the holiday season. There's the Documentary Film Club International Inuit Day on November 16th at 7 p.m. So it's at the library and it will celebrate International Inuit Day as 3 films from Inuit directors will be presented. Also on November 17th with Heritage Montreal's architectural tour at the library in collaboration with the Westmount Historical Association. The talk will look at how architectural walking tours have evolved and how they continue to help us look at the city around us. So in a city like Westmount, it's certainly worthwhile. Finalement, il va y avoir la vente de livres encore. Il y en a une au printemps, là, c'est celle de l'automne, samedi et dimanche, le 19 et 20 novembre, donc pas ce week-end suivant, de 10h à 4h à Victoria Hall. Et comme d'habitude, tous les fonds recueillis seront consacrés à l'achat de nouveaux matériels pour la bibliothèque. Et j'ai dit finalement, mais j'oubliais les enfants. Alors, pour les enfants, il y a une soirée pyjama des animaux en peluche. Alors, ce sera samedi le 19 novembre de 10h à 17h. Les enfants laissent leur animal de peluche à la bibliothèque pour une soirée pyjama entre les animaux de peluche. Et le lendemain, les enfants viennent les chercher encore entre 10h et 17h. Et puis là, ils vont vous raconter tout ce que vos petits animaux de peluche ont fait pendant la nuit. Alors, il y en a vraiment pour tous les âges. Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup. Councillor D'Amico, non? OK. Donc maintenant, on va commencer avec la première période de questions, avec les questions dans la salle. On va commencer avec ça. And then we will go, Maître Ferland, with the questions that had been submitted online. And after that, it will be the questions that are submitted online live. Donc, on va commencer avec les gens dans la salle. Your name and your address, please, and your question. And there's lots of you tonight, so please be mindful of...
Bonsoir tout le monde, Fabrice Veil, 560 Clermont. Première fois que je viens depuis la pandémie, je suis content de vous voir. Donc j'ai peut-être une question qui est redondante. Avant la pandémie, il était question que Clermont soit refaite et je voulais savoir ce qu'il en était. Deuxième question subsidiaire, les panneaux qui ont été de vitesse de limite qui sont très utiles, qui ont été vissés dans la rue, certains sont très mal placés.
Les panneaux
qui sont sur la voie centrale, en fait, sur la ligne jaune.
OK.
Et votre collègue Jonathan, à qui j'ai demandé depuis 2 mois, 5 fois de déplacer, ça n'a toujours pas été fait. Et ça, c'est un petit détail. Le plus important, je voulais savoir ce qu'il en était de la réfection de Clermont.
OK, on va commencer avec les panneaux et c'est juste les panneaux de Claremont
qui sont visés. Oui, enfin, il y en a un qui était très mal placé et que je heurte à chaque fois que je sors de chez moi.
OK, on va garder ça. Puis la deuxième question, quand est-ce que Claremont va être fait? Est-ce que...
Il était question que ce soit 2019 ou 2020, je crois. Et puis ensuite, j'imagine que c'est pas...
je le sais. On a fait l'eau cet été dans une portion, mais pas la même portion que vous parlez. Do you want to take this one? 24. Yeah.
Bonsoir. Oui, l'avenue Clermont a été reporté pendant plusieurs années. Mais maintenant, c'est ciblé. C'est ce qu'on souhaite faire, c'est de l'attaquer dans l'année 2024. C'est ce qu'on prévoit. C'est dans l'année prochaine, 2023, il y aura des consultations publiques. Pendant cette année, on va faire la planification pour le projet qui devrait faire pour redesign. C'est ce qu'on ne souhaite pas remettre en exact ce qui existe présentement. Alors, c'est comme on a fait ailleurs, comme on a fait sur Mount Pleasant, sur Lexington. On souhaite vraiment faire de repenser comment on va configurer Clermont. Parce que d'après moi, c'est trop large, c'est vite. Mais à Marinopolis, au nord, il y a des autobus, il y a beaucoup des éléments qu'il faut considérer. Il y a des opportunités, même comme avec le traitement des eaux le ruissellement d'eau de surface. On pourrait peut-être faire la même chose sur Clermont qu'on fait ailleurs dans la ville.
Il y a de l'espace sur Clermont. Ça, c'est de bonnes choses. Mais c'est dommage, oui. Je comprends que c'est 2024. It's a terrible street. It's in terrible shape.
C'est dans 2 hivers?
Oui, on le sait.
Okay.
Mais à la fin du mois, on va avoir un plan de 3 ans et Clermont est sur le plan.
OK. Merci beaucoup.
Et c'est la première fois qu'on va donner les détails pour 3 ans maintenant. C'est comme un plan triennial, un vrai plan triennial.
OK, parfait. Merci beaucoup.
Merci. Next question? No? All right. I'm going to go to the questions online then.
Oui, nous avons reçu 2 questions aujourd'hui en ligne. Excusez-moi. Première question nous vient de M. Fred Gervin. An executive search firm was used for recruiting the last Director General. Unfortunately, a Google search presumably wasn't conducted by the search firm last year. Will a refund of fees be made to the city?
Thank you, Mr. Gervin, for your question. Obviously, HR issues are difficult for me to discuss. I know many people have followed this issue. I think I know what you're talking about in terms of a Google search. And yes, that was a Google search was done. But for the issue in question that you may be referring to, that had a very valid explanation. So that, and as for the rest of the question, I'm unable to answer or give any details on that. But thank you, Mr. Gervin, for your question. Prochaine question.
Second question from Madame Esther Kaiser. On behalf of many dogs owner in Westmount, I would like to ask the council to improve the state of the dog runs. The gravel is depleting, the black anti-root cloth is visible in several spots, the ground is uneven, and people sprain their ankles. The gravel is so soaked with urine that we joke about standing in a giant litter box. In the summertime, when the grounds are dusty, this is becoming a health hazard. In general, there is not enough light to see where your pooch has left a big one. People feel people feel less than safe after dark, certainly after the last attack on the cyclist in the park. Also, one of the lights next to the Westmount Park dog run was run over by the arborist, but has not been replaced. Thanks for listening to our concerns.
Thank you for your question. And I think you're maybe referring to Westmount Dog Run, but maybe all the dog runs. So we'll address it as all the dog runs. I know that Public Works has gone to, I'm not sure if it is fixed, but they are working on fixing the light there. And I agree with you that the dog runs need some love and care, and it is in the Public Works operating budget to do that. And in terms of the material, it's a standard material that's used in dog runs, but I know we have had a lot of feedback and complaints on it. It's just finding the replacement material that is the challenge, because grass does not last in a dog run. But we are adding to it, and we'll clean up and address the issue where the undermatting is coming forward. Does anyone else want to comment on the dog situation? No? And they are also, dogs are now off leash all day long at the summit, which is new as of November 1st. So that often means a little less pressure on all of our dog runs. So thank you for the question. And we also know that some people have put in the request. There was a tent that was put up in the Murray Hill dog run. Obviously, we can't have tents that are not secure put up in the dog run, but it was then brought to a lot of council's attention that people would like some form of rain shelter. So that is also something that we are looking at for the spring of 2023. Merci pour la question. Any others?
No more questions.
And anything come online? No? No other questions from the room? Otherwise, we'll begin with the longer part of the public agenda. Okay. We will now start with the adoption of the agenda. Adoption de l'ordre du jour with some additions afterwards. So, Councillor Peart.
Merci, Madame la Mairesse. I move that the agenda of the regular council sitting of November 7th, 2022 be adopted with addition of the following items under new business. 18.1, transaction, termination of employment, employee number 061166. 18.2, appointment, Hydro Westmount, Assistant Superintendent, Aerial and Underground Installations. 18.3, modification to a contract, negotiations, collective agreement between the City of Westmount and the Syndicat d'Écoles Bleues regroupées de Montréal, SCFP local 301.
Merci beaucoup. Un appuyeur, c'est Conseiller Chamy. All in favor? Carried. Item number 5, again, Councillor Peart, encore Conseiller Peart, approbation des procès-verbaux.
Merci, Madame la Mairesse. Je propose que les procès-verbaux des séances ordinaires du Conseil tenues le 11 octobre et 19 octobre 2022 soient approuvés.
Merci beaucoup. A seconder will be Councillor Bostock. All in favor? Carried. Item number 6, reports to Council. 6.1. C'est moi, la correspondance. Les documents suivants sont déposés. Avis public de la Ville de Montréal, Assemblée publique, cheminement d'une plainte dans le signalant d'incidents et crimes haineux. Liste des règlements adoptés à l'Assemblée ordinaire du Conseil d'agglomération du 27 octobre 2022. 6.2, c'est Conseiller Bostock. Councillor Bostock.
I move that the minutes of the Transportation Advisory Committee meetings held on August 30th and September 14th, 2022 are tabled and are available on the city's website.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you. 6.3, rapport de la main-d'œuvre. Conseiller Chamy.
Merci, Madame la Mairesse. Le rapport de main-d'œuvre pour le mois de septembre 2022 est maintenant déposé.
Merci beaucoup. 6.4, list of duties on transfer invoices. Councillor D'Amico.
Merci, Madame la Mairesse. La liste des paiements pour le mois de septembre 2022 est déposée.
Merci beaucoup. 6.5, 6.5, list of approvals in virtue of bylaw 1507. Councillor Chamy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Look, I can't find it here. 6.5. Conformément au règlement 1507 sur la délégation de pouvoir à certains employés de la Ville de Westmount, la liste d'autorisation de dépenses pour le mois de septembre 2022 est maintenant déposée.
Merci beaucoup. 6.6, Conseiller D'Amico, liste de facturation des droits de mutation.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The list of duties on transfers for the month of October 2022 is tabled.
Thank you. Again, Councillor D'Amico. 6.7, report of the Vice President, Vice-présidence à la vérification, transmission of financial reports.
Merci, Madame la Mairesse. Le rapport de la vice-présidence à la vérification de la Commission municipale du Québec daté de mars 2022 concernant la transmission des rapports financiers pour les municipalités locales de moins de 100 000 habitants municipalités régionales, de comtés et communautés métropolitaines est déposé.
Thank you very much. Item number 7, adoption of council's position on the items to be submitted to the Montreal Urban Agglomeration Council. Councillor Peart.
Thank you, Madame la Mairesse. I move that the mayor, or in her absence, the acting mayor, be authorized to make any decision she deems necessary and in the best interest of the city of Westmount and its residents regarding the items on the agenda of the Montreal Urban Agglomeration Council meeting to be held on November 24th of 2022.
Thank you very much. A seconder on this will be Councillor Shammy. Any, all in favor? Carried. Item number 8, Councillor D'Amico, writing off of unpaid hydro Westmount customers accounts. Oh, sorry. Item number 8, reassignment of rules 1,111 Atwater. Councillor D'Amico.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Whereas there are approximately 1,500 property tax rolls for the property located at 1111 Atwater Avenue, a very small portion of which are located in Westmount. Whereas the cost of processing the property tax bills for said tax rolls is considerably higher than the value in property taxes, I move that the city of Westmount approve the reassignment of the 1,500 tax rolls located in the 1111 Atwater real estate project in favor of the city of Montreal.
Thank you very much, Councillor D'Amico. A seconder on this will be Councillor Peart. Do you want to add any further comments to this so people understand some context on it? It's very minimal.
It's simply a cost benefit analysis that's being done.
Yes. All right. Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Item number 9, Councillor Shammy, writing off of unpaid hydro customer accounts.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Whereas Hydro Westmount has registered a total of $24,265.91 in bad debts for its 2019 operating year in its 2022 budget. And whereas the client accounts that are subject of this application for authorization have been entrusted unsuccessfully to a collection agency, I move, Madam Mayor, that the lists of Hydro Westmount's unpaid customer accounts for the year 2019 attached hereto be written off in the amount of $24,265.91.
Thank you very much, Councillor Shammy. A seconder is Councillor D'Amico. Any further questions?
No.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Item number 10, group purchase with the Association des redistributeurs d'électricité du Québec, AREC, purchase of aerial transformers. Again, Councillor Shammy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that that council authorize the city of Westmount to participate in the group purchase with the Association des redistributeurs d'électricité du Québec, AREC, for the purchase of aerial transformers for the period from 2023 to 2028, with one option of renewal. And that's it.
Merci beaucoup. A seconder on this, Councillor D'Amico. Any further comments? No. Okay. Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Item number 11, numéro 11. Councillor Roux demande de proposition réaménagement du jardin du Comte et la cœur du conservatoire situé à Westmount. Conseiller Roux.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Whereas the request for proposal was sent for the reconfiguration of the Storytelling Center and the Conservatory Courtyard located in Westmount, request for proposal number DDP-2022-017, and that in conformity with bylaw 1556 on contract management, the déclaration relative aux mesures prises pour assurer la rotation des co-contractants is submitted to this meeting. Whereas following the analysis of the received proposal, Conception Paysage Inc. is the selected bidder. I move to authorize an expenditure in the amount of $36,745.62, including tax credits for the 2022 fiscal year for the reconfiguration of the Storytelling Center and the Conservatory Courtyard in Westmount. Request for proposal number DDP 2022-017 to award to Conception Paysage Inc. the contract for this purpose in accordance with its proposal for a maximum amount of $89,600 $680.50, including taxes, the whole in conformity with the contractual documents of the request for proposal DDP-2022-017 to allocate this expenditure in accordance with the financial information included in the decision-making file number 2022-17-12.
Thank you very much, Councillor Roux. A seconder on this will be Councillor Gallery. And I think probably, or do you have any more comments on this?
No, well, it brings everything together. I don't know if everyone's familiar, but between the children's library and the conservatory, there's a green space, and that's the storytelling garden. So it's to redo that and redo in front of the conservatory. So the whole ensemble between the library, Victoria Hall, will all look fantastic.
Yeah,
and come together.
And we use the word the reconfiguration. It's not necessarily a reconfiguration of that space, which was an award-winning design of that space. It is
recreation.
We are recreating the space which had damage to it, obviously, as we rebuilt our greenhouse. So thank you. All in favor? Carried. Item number 12, call for public tenders, rental of snow blowers with operators. Councillor Bostock.
I move to authorize an expenditure in the amount of $93,543.86, including tax credits for the 2022 fiscal year for the rental of snow blowers with operators, tender number PUB 2022-053, to award to Monty Landscaping, Inc. the contract for this purpose at its bid price for a minimum amount of $543,256.84, including taxes, and a maximum amount of $931,297.50, including taxes, for a period of 3 years, the whole in conformity with the contractual documents for the call for tenders PUB 2022-053, and to allocate this expenditure in accordance with the financial information included in the decision-making file number 2022-1707.
Thank you very much. A seconder on this, Councillor D'Amico. Any further comments?
We found
yearly rental.
It's our yearly rental, and we found a company that has people and equipment, so it's good.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Carried. Item 13, numéro 13, Monsieur le greffier, adoption règlement 1591 visant à modifier de nouveau le règlement 1475 sur les nuances et l'ordre public souffleuse à feuilles. Monsieur le greffier.
Alors, je signale, Madame la mairesse, que des copies du règlement ont été remises à tous les membres du conseil et mises à la disposition du public en temps opportun. L'objet de ce règlement est d'interdire l'usage des souffleuses à feuilles à essence sur le territoire de la ville de Westmount.
Merci beaucoup. Est-ce que je peux avoir la déclaration de la part de chaque membre du conseil présent à la fait qu'il ou elle a lu le règlement? Councillor Aronson.
Merci, Madame Mairesse. I move that bylaw number, before I move this, I should note that we will have to make an amendment because there's a typo in this.
Yeah.
So we're going to move this, second it, then I'm going to introduce an amendment. We have to vote on that amendment, and then we can return to the original motion. Sorry, there's a little procedural moment here. So that I move, therefore, that bylaw number 1591, entitled Bylaw to further amend bylaw 1475 on nuisances and good order leaf blowers, be adopted.
And it is ordered that notices be given. Oh, sorry. So do I have a seconder on this? Councillor Peart, all in favor? No, we're going to have the amendment before we vote. Okay,
we must.
So you will have the amendment now.
So now, as we are debating this motion, I further amend, or rather I move to amend the proposed bylaw such that draft article 6.2B read, and this is the prohibition, that uses of a leaf blower or similar device between June 1st and October 1st be changed to read uses of a leaf blower or similar device between June 1st and September 30th. And further, at section C, that using a leaf blower or any similar device powered by gasoline or a gasoline engine at any time starting on October the 1st.
2023.
The effect of this amendment is to give our local contractors and other people who use and will be using electric leaf blowers when the bylaw comes into effect, an extra month in the month of October of 2023 in order to use the electric leaf blowers and collect all the leaves. And this way we have more time for our residents and their contractors to clean up leaves in next year's fall season. So
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
A seconder on this will be Councillor Peart. Do you have any further comments on this?
Nope, this was just the amendment. So we have to vote on the amendment, then we go back to the vote on the.
Okay, so we will vote on the amendment. Seconded again by Councillor Peart. All in favor?
Aye.
Any against? Carried. Now we go back to the original motion. So back to Councillor Aronson.
Right. So having moved this, I urge my fellow councillors to please vote in favor of this change to bylaws, which will take gas burning leaf blowers out of circulation in Westmount effective 1 year from this fall, giving everybody a year to get up to speed on the new bylaws, with the understanding, as we have discussed, that in the event there are supply chain issues, that we will reconsider this situation as we get closer to the implementation of the bylaw.
Yeah, so we will lead by example on this. If
Indeed.
our public works team can do it, then so can our contractors. And we understand this is a change for some, but it is an important one. So both of those, the amendment and the motion, are second.
Got to vote on them. Oh, yes, right.
Are seconded by Councillor Peart. And now we vote on the motion. So all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Item number, I declare that bylaw 1592 entitled bylaw to further amend bylaw 1387 considering noise leaf blowers having been duly adopted is ordered that notices be given as required by law. Thank you, everyone. Item number 15 is 14. Oh, gosh, yeah, sorry. This is out of order on this sheet from them. Item number 14. So I need to read that again because I wrote the wrong one. That bylaw 1591 entitled bylaw to further amend bylaw 1475 on nuisances and good order leaf blowers having been duly adopted is ordered that notices be given as required by law. Item number 14, adoption law bylaw 1592 to further amend bylaw 1387 concerning noise leaf blowers. Encore le greffier.
Oui, Madame la mairesse, je signale que des copies du règlement ont été remises à tous les membres du conseil et à la disposition du public en temps opportun. L'objet de ce règlement est d'abroger les articles 28 à 31 du règlement sur le bruit, considérant que ces articles ont été intégrés au règlement sur les nuisances et l'ordre public.
Merci. Est-ce que je peux avoir la déclaration de la part de chaque membre du conseil présent à l'effet qu'il ou elle a lu le règlement? Thank you. Councillor Aronson again.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. That bylaw number 1592, entitled Bylaw to Further Amend Bylaw 1387 concerning noise leaf blowers, be adopted.
Thank you very much. A seconder on this will again be Councillor Peart. Any further comments on this?
This is just the second set of bylaws that need to be amended in order to give some teeth to this regulation. This basically is how the enforcement mechanisms.
Yes, which is an important part of it. Okay, so all those in favor? Carried. All those against? Motion is carried. I declare item number 14, I declare that bylaw 1592 entitled bylaw to further amend bylaw 1387 concerning noise leaf blowers having been duly adopted, it's ordered that notices be given as required by law. Thank you very much. Thank you, Councillor Aronson. Item number 15, withdrawal of draft bylaw 1588 to further amend zoning bylaw 1303, office use in zone R9-09-03. This is Councillor Peart.
Thank you, Madame la Mairesse. I will read the whereas clauses in this case. Whereas notice of motion of the presentation of this bylaw 1588 entitled Bylaw to further amend zoning bylaw 1303, office use in zone R9-09-03 was given at the regular sitting of Municipal Council held on June 20th of 2022. Whereas a first draft of bylaw 1588 was adopted by resolution by the Municipal Council at its regular sitting held on June 20th of 2022. Whereas on July 11th of 2022, the Municipal Council held a public consultation meeting on said first draft bylaw. Whereas the second draft bylaw 1588 was adopted by resolution by the Municipal Council at its regular sitting held on September 6th of 2022. Whereas the object of this bylaw is to modify the grid of uses and types of buildings permitted in zone R9-09-03 in order to authorize office uses as well as to add a provision concerning parking to the grid of physical spatial specifications of zone R9-09-03. Whereas the City of Westmount opened a registry on Tuesday, October 18th of 2022 for all qualified voters, requesting that second draft of bylaw 1588 be submitted to a referendum poll by entering their name, address, and capacity, and by signing the register open for that purpose. Whereas the number of ballot applications needed to require that second draft of bylaw 1588 be submitted to a referendum poll was 54, whereas 108 ballot applications were submitted. Whereas the holding of a referendum would involve the use of significant resources, whereas this is an individual project. I move that the draft bylaw 1588 entitled Bylaw to further amend zoning bylaw 1303 office use in zone R9-09-03 be withdrawn.
Thank you very much, Councillor Peart. A seconder on this, I'm sure, would be Councillor Shammy. The seconder. Any further comments on this? Would the councillor for the district like to comment?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and members of District 3, who I see many of you here tonight. I think it's really important, democracy, the way our system works, the procedures. We followed all procedures under the Act respecting land use, planning and development. On a suivi, Madame la Mairesse, toutes les étapes définies en vertu de la loi sur l'aménagement et urbanisme. And I really believe applicants can make applications. Our job at council is to follow the process. And I know it created a lot of discourse, a lot of discussion, dialogue. But at the end of the day, what's important is that the process works. And I'm an advocate for my residents in my district. And I really believe that the process is there to let the process be followed. So I just want to make that comment, Madame Mayor, to our folks tonight, especially those in District 3.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any comments on this? I think Councillor Aaron wants to.
Just actually wanted to just make a quick question for clarification, just so we know before we vote. What does a referendum on a matter like this cost the city in taxpayer money? I think the DG might know. I mean, ballpark figures, right?
Not that we make decisions based solely on finances, but.
Le coût d'un référendum est à peu près le même qu'une élection lorsque c'est à la grandeur du territoire. Par ailleurs, ici, on était dans quelques zones seulement. Donc, ça coûterait moins cher, mais c'est quand même quelque chose de... C'est quand même des ressources considérables.
Okay. Any further comments on this? This has been discussed at General Committee. I know that several of you have written to council about this, to your local city councillor, but as well to council and myself. Does anyone else want to comment on this further before we vote?
All this to say is the threshold was 54. 108 individuals took the time out of the day to express their opposition to this project, and as such, we listened. And this is the result of that, of our listening.
Okay, so we'll vote now. So all those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Item number 16, again, Councillor Peart, tabling of the Planning Advisory Committee minutes.
Merci, Madame la Mairesse. I move that council acknowledge and accept the minutes of the regular Planning Advisory Committee meeting for the month of October 2022, held on October 18th and October 20th of 2022.
Thank you. Councillor Gallery would like to second those. Anything to note on those minutes?
Nope, this is a matter of course. This is our regular habit of transparency, and we publish these meeting minutes on a regular basis.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Item number 17, again, Councillor Peart, approval of site planning and architectural integration programs.
Thank you, Madame la Mairesse. I move that the Municipal Council act on the opinions of the Planning Advisory Committee, the PAC, as set out in the minutes of the regular meeting for the month of October 2022, and adopt for each of them the site planning and architectural integration programs conditions for the issuance of a permit as listed in the following items: CCU 22-10.01, CCU 22-10.05, 2, CCU 22-10.10, CCU 22-10.12, CCU 22-10.15 to CCU 22-10.17, CCU 22-10.23, and CCU 22-10.24 of the agendas of the PAC meeting for the month of October 22nd, held on October 18th and October 20th of 2022.
Thank you very much. Councillor Gallery will second that. Any significant files you want to highlight in those?
In this
Batch of permits?
It's nothing out of the ordinary.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Aye. Carried. The next three items are under new business. They will all be moved by Councillor Shammy. So starting with 18.1, transaction termination of employment, employee number 06166.
Do I have to read the whereas? No. I move, Madam Mayor, that the Substitute Director General be authorized to sign for, on behalf of the city, the attached transaction and release.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Item 18.2, appointment Hydro Westmount Assistant Superintendent, Aerial and Underground Installations. Again, Councillor Shammy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that Monsieur Elise Soussan be appointed to the position of Assistant Superintendent, Aerial and Underground Installations of Hydro Westmount Grade 9, effective January 9th, 2022, in accordance with the salary and recommendation of the Director of Human Resources Department as stipulated in decision-making file number 2022-1729, and according to the terms provided for in the working conditions and remuneration of management personnel. And finally, that the appointment be on a permanent basis once Monsieur Soussan has completed a probationary period in accordance with Section 2 of the working conditions and remuneration of management personnel.
Thank you very much. A seconder on this will be Councillor D'Amico. We met Mr. Soussan tonight via Teams, so we welcome him aboard. Any further comments from the Commissioner on that? No? All in favor? Carried. The final item again is Councillor Shammy, 18.3, modification to a contract.
Excusez-moi, Madame la Mairesse. On n'avait pas de secondaire sur le 18.1.
18.1, c'est... Oh, je m'excuse. Donc, est-ce que je peux avoir un appui sur ça? Councillor Peart.
All those in favor?
And all those in favor? Aye. Carried.
Thank you.
Okay, merci. We go back to 18.3. Again, Councillor Shammy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that an additional expenditure be authorized in the amount of $20,120.63, including taxes, for the negotiation mandate for the renewal of the collective agreement between the City of Westmount and the Syndicat des Écoles Bleues Regroupées de Montréal, SCFP, Section Locale 301, Request for Proposals DDP 2021-033 with Le Corps et Associés. And finally, to allocate this expenditure in accordance with the financial information included in the decision-making file number 2022-1733.
Merci beaucoup. Councillor D'Amico will second that. Any further comments? This is obviously very important in terms of negotiating the collective agreement. No? Okay. All in favor? Carried. That brings that part of the agenda to a close. And now we will have a second question period where we will allow questions from the audience, and then we'll go to the online questions if we have any submitted online. Are there any questions from the audience? You have to come to the mic and state your name so that you are that we can have it in the recording.
Hi, my name is Mitchell Adler at 415 Mountain Pleasant. I just don't understand how the misleading to everybody somehow ended up changing this entire zoning. It was lies and coercion and all this, and it really doesn't make any sense.
I can imagine that you're very disappointed tonight. I don't imagine this would have been an easy or the result that you had expected. And we are listening to the numbers that came out and the input from the community. And when they sign the registry, we obviously have to listen to that. And we began this process, and you went through the process with the Urban Planning Committee, and it is one building. There are many similar types of buildings like this on Sherbrooke Street, but it requires a zoning change, and a zoning change allows for input from the public. So that's the way the system works. And sometimes it works in favor, but it is also means that the neighborhood has an input. Does anyone else want to comment on this?
If I can, it must be very disappointing. I know you followed the process. You were an applicant that followed the rules, and we brought it to first reading after it was presented. But as the mayor just mentioned, and under the act, this is how our democracy works. Okay. And it's not always fair, but it's the process.
Well, from what I understand, the zoning allows for a nursing home for old age residents. So I think that's what we're going to put there.
I'll leave that to my urban planning office. I'm sure you'll be in touch with them. But it is this is part of the process, and sometimes people, it can feel like, there are lots who will argue that a small group can overturn zoning, but you did follow the process, and you didn't do what many others have done in the past, which is put an illegal use in a building, whereas you came forward, you came through the process. And this is the outcome, and this is the decision. And I think you saw that it was unanimous on council not to go to the next step of referendum. But I certainly recognize that is not the outcome that you had wanted. Any further comments on that? No? Any further questions from the room? No? All these people in council tonight. Nobody ever comes to council anymore. It just takes leaf blowers and a zoning change in one building to bring out the masses. No further questions. Est-ce qu'il y a des questions en ligne?
Non, pas de questions en ligne.
Okay. So we will adjourn the meeting. Thank you very much, everyone.